You see, we're continuing on in the Gospel of John, and we find ourselves this morning in John chapter 19, and we will pick back up at verse 28, where Jesus is on the cross and he is about to say, "It is finished." And we will carry on to John chapter 20, verse 10, and you will see momentarily that this is the place where the empty tomb is acknowledged. It cannot be denied. And yet, the sighting of the risen Jesus has not yet happened. And I tell you that it's critically important for you, me, and every believer to understand this time, this 3-day gap between the events of Good Friday and the celebration of Easter Sunday morning. And I want to ask you this morning, do you understand that 3-day gap? You see, what I have found in my walk is that typically, and maybe you're in this place and maybe not, but typically when we look at the 3 days between "it is finished" and "he has risen," people ask where questions. Where do you think Jesus was on Saturday? Where do you think he went during those times? And let me just put your mind at ease. We're not going there this morning. We're going to ask the why question. Why 3 days? Why 3 days? In much the same way that we asked why the crucifixion. And I said to you, why didn't God just drown him? You know, if the price was paid with the death, why go through such a gruesome death? There was a very real reason for the crucifixion. So that you and I would stare sin in the face and see just how heinous it is and how great a price God had paid sacrificially for you and me. Well, I tell you this morning that before we're done, you will understand why 3 days. And here's the best part. I'm not going to give you an answer. Jesus is. Jesus answered the question of why 3 days. And it has a direct application to you and me and every other believer. But people of St. Johnsbury, people of the Bridge, it has a very real, relevant, and timely response to us as well. And I pray that you will see it in a way that is undeniable. You see, we as a church family here at the Bridge, we've been brought to a place where God is calling us to step up and to step out and to reach out and to go. And I know for some it's a challenge. I know for some it has not rested well. I have heard various responses, some of which have been very warm in the embrace of what God is doing, and some that frankly are quite harsh and even hurtful. My prayer is today we will hear God, that it will be undeniable, because I tell you this, I have been in prayer. You see, we as a people, we have been processing what God is doing. And in my time, I prayed, I said, Lord, how do I speak to the diversity of response? And he said, Jeff, keep processing. That's what I said. And it became very clear to me this week it was because he said, I'm going to speak to this myself. And I tell you unashamedly that I'm here today as his voice, as he speaks to us. Let's see God's word, and then we'll unpack it in a way that I pray is powerful and personal to you and me. Here is John chapter 19, verse 28, through John chapter 20, verse 10, visibly through the Gospel of John. Let's see it, and then we will unpack it. I tell you to look for 3 things this morning. Look for the truth, the temple, and the test. For in this passage, you and I will find the truth of the church, the temple of the church, and the test of the church.